to the better of the halves of me. Please show me just a little bit of honesty. I'd hope I got a heart that I can salvage, but it's getting harder now to recall. I know well what let out both try. You could have anything you wanted it all for your fool's gold. And I know well why deaf and half blind. You could get anything you wanted. Yeah, I would have handed it all over, falling for you. Only the fall for you. Came in and you're looking like a sign of grace, I know.
Hello and welcome everybody, and welcome back to another wonderful round with the Sausage Dodgers. This time we're doing something extremely different. We're driving the Formula cars, the Super Formula cars, around a couple of Britain's greatest tracks. Let's take a look at the race details for Formula SDR Round 1 at Donington Park, one of the greatest Grand Prix circuits in the country. One of my favorites, that's for sure. Looking forward to this one, to say the least. We've got a track length of 2.5 miles or 4 kilometers long, founded in 1931, current layout since 2010. We're in Derby, England. 12 corners, 5 to the left, 7 to the right, with 289 feet of elevation change here. Couple keys to the race momentum through the fast section. That will be sector 1. Exit out of compass, the double right-hander hairpin. You got to nail the braking zones in towards turn 1 into the old Melbourne hairpin as well. Tire and brake management will be important for this race because the drivers are going to be pushing very, very hard throughout this stint. Looking at the practice session, it was Noah Osbaldeston that topped the charts. And here is Osbaldeston. Let's see if we can go on board with him as he comes through Sector 1, carrying the speed all the way down to Hollywood. And then Craner curves up to the old hairpin Starkey Bridge. Swans curve into McLean's is where you got to carry a ton of speed before you get to Compass. Double right-hander. I call it my British oak tree. You guys tell me if I'm wrong or right on that one. $119,904 for Leslie Simpkins. 69 thousandths back is Mark Richards, but Noah Osbaldeston pushing hard, getting to the line. Will he find pole position with 3 purple sectors? Pushes hard. He does find pole with a 119.00 at the very end of the night. Looking good for Osbaldeston. Back over to a couple other drivers that might still be out on track. Here's Ollie Smith finishing things out. But let's switch over to Leslie Simpkins because they're going personal best through the last 3 sectors, and it'll be 4/10 off the good from Noah in P1. Leslie Simpkins in P2. Nick Stubb in P3. Mark Richards in 4th. Craig Cameron in 5th. Mark Richards, Ollie Smith, Tomaha Tommy Harala, finishing up their third lap now. Craig Cameron improves with a 120.01, finds the top 5 out of that. Want to give a big shout out right now to our sponsor for this event. Thank you so much to them for their sponsorship of the prizes for this event as well. It'll be O-Coach Sim Racing Coaching. First prize will be 3 hours of one-on-one coaching. Second prize will be 2 hours of one-on-one coaching. Third prize will be 1 hour of one-to-one coaching. Extra Drivers Gentleman Championship, voted by the drivers in the championship. Criteria is must have not gotten a podium at any of the races and must have attended all of the rounds. A little bit of information about Coach. Noah Osbaldeston has been sim racing for around 8 years and has been racing in the professional esports scene for a year now. He followed real life accolades within motorsports, but is limited to only a year's worth of running so far. I started Coach about 8 months ago to help other sim racers. What this will really cover is one-to-one coaching, full coaching across all cars and tracks on all platforms except for ACC, R-Factor, Rennsport, and Race Room, full dynamic feedback based on driver data feeling, video and data analysis, vision drills, motorsport knowledge, warm-up techniques and pre-performance routine, post-race routine and cool-down with direct feedback. So if you're inexperienced with sim racing or looking to become an esports champion, O-Coach will cater to your needs no matter what. From basic to refining the smallest of details, Noah Osbaldeston will be the person to take you from green to checkered flag, just as I do. Thank you very much, Noah Osbaldeston and O-Coach Sim Race Coaching. For this week's sponsor, we have an interesting one. Elon Musk, thank you very much for your sponsorship of tonight's race. If you would like to sponsor a race for the championship of Sausage Dodgers, go ahead and join the Patreon subscription, or go ahead and reach out to the admins and go to sponsor a race. It really helps out the broadcast, the fees for the servers, etc. If you're looking for a powerful way to promote your brand, product, or service, you can partner with our live stream and put your message directly in front of an engaged real-time audience. You can sponsor the stream to get live exposure with a growing and interactive audience. You have brand mentions during the stream, logo placement on stream, and overlays and promotional materials. Custom shoutouts on products, service, and features, authentic engagements, and anybody can sponsor. Waiting for the results to populate, and then we'll get them posted here in just a minute. Thank you very much in chat, Lucy. Thank you very much for being here, Nick Ewers. Wish you were here with us, brother. Ten seconds remaining on the clock right now. And the qualifying session will be concluded and we'll be ready to go. We don't have any championship standings to review just yet, so we will just go straight into the race action here in just a moment. Let's take a look at those results on your screen. No Osbidelson with that 119 000. Leslie Simpkins in P2, Nick Stubb in P3, Mark Richards in P4, Craig Cameron in 5th, Luke Maruno, Kaya Krasenberg, Ollie Smith, Pizzetti, Darsh, Williams, Harala, Phipps, Kesserton, Baker, Barry, and then Ward round out the 17 drivers here tonight. Looking at the grid, ready to rumble, folks. Drivers are getting loaded up and ready to go. I am Sagar Bakshi, aka The Real High, folks. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much for staying tuned. Really appreciate all your love and support. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the bell, all that good stuff. It really helps us out in our growing community. And if you want to get engaged and inserted to the driving action here with the Sausage Dodgers, find us on Discord. Get yourself installed to your sim rig and join us out on track whenever you can. Will be Osbidelston leading us down in towards turn 1 now. Leslie Simpkins on that outside line. Drivers officially ready to go. Osbidelston straightens out his wheel now. And it's green, green, green from the standing start. No Osbidelston on that inside line. And it will be Leslie Simpkins on the outside line. We're not going to go 3 wide further back. We're going to keep it calm, cool, and collected. Just 2 wide through the field. Through the backfield, though, it is going to be 3 wide through corner number 1. Osbidelston pulls out a tremendous gap as we look at Ollie Smith coming down the hill into the old hairpin. Straightens out the pack. Single file line will be the order of operations for just a moment now, but we get a little side by side between Pizzetti and that'll be Mark Richards driving the the Visa Cash App Red Bull behind. And there's going to be Nick Stubb off in the background, the number 15. Hopefully we can get a replay of that and see what happened to Nick. Mark Richards went off track, Nick Stubbs went off track, but right here it's going to be Pizzetti looking forward at Krasenberg, and it will be a move into the Melbourne hairpin, but a big wiggle from Pizzetti now slows him down. Mark Richards in the background wanting to charge forward as well. Gap opens up to 0.7 of a second for the leader of the race, Osbidelston to Simpkins. 1:24.7 being the new fast lap of the race. Expect them to go a little bit faster as time goes on. Here is Mark Richards under attack from Mr. Tim Williams through the fast and flowy first sector. That's a dangerous place to pass, but Tim Williams makes it work around the outside. Mark Richards not done with this conversation, looks for a move on the entrance to McLean's, goes the long way around the outside, gives the pincer move, goes and touches a little bit of dirt for good measure. The battle continues in towards Coppice, the British oak tree. Single file has to be the order, right? But no, these boys are going to continue to go wheel to wheel. There's a little bit of a battle up ahead between Pizzetti and Krasenberg. Krasenberg carries the speed in the inside line. Will it be a battle as well backwards? No, it will not. Pizzetti carries the speed. We're going to stay on board with this one. The driver from Italy looks to the inside, and the Melbourne hairpin goes and turns in a little bit early, but the crossover exists from Kassenberg, and he carries the speed and charges up the field through the Melbourne hairpin. P5 could potentially be his, but there's a driver off. Who is that? Is that Pizzetti? No, Luca Moreno potentially in the number 56. We'll have to take a look at what happened there in just a few moments, but we've got a huge debacle of cars right now. That is Luca Moreno, who spun out into the final corner of Goddard's. We've got a five-way battle for P4 as the leaders have escaped up the road 3/10 and then now 3 seconds to P3. These guys are going to continue to battle for this 40-minute race and not settle down anytime soon. Leslie Simpkins, important that he stays within spitting distance of Noah Osbaldeston, closed down the gap to within 1/10 of a second there. Leslie Simpkins on a charge and in charge of P2 right now. He could potentially get his dreams fulfilled and work with Osbaldeston to get some one-on-one coaching. Learn a lot sitting behind another driver as well, and he sits behind one of the best. Leslie Simpkins' new fast lap of the race, 1:20.4 that last time around. Mark Richards looks to the inside on Tim Williams now. Can he charge through the field, down the hill, through Hollywood and Craner curves, into the old hairpin? Mark Richards pulls out an amazing drive. Noah Osbaldeston and Leslie Simpkin almost touching bumper to nose there. And they touch going into the Melbourne hairpin. Noah Osbaldeston and Leslie Simpkins come together. We're going to get a replay of that right now. From the blimp cam, Noah Osbaldeston leading into the Melbourne hairpin. Leslie looks to the inside. Osbaldeston turns in and gets spun around. Osbaldeston down into 4th. Simpkins down into 8th. That promotes Craig Cameron now into the lead from GT Omega Racing and Northern Lights Racing. Into the lead, Mark Richards now battling for a podium position with Krassenberg. Andrea Pizzetti in P6 up 3 positions now. Krassenberg up 5, Cameron up 4. And we'll see Osbaldeston from Nova Motors Esports try to charge his way back through the field. Oh, and Pizzetti spun around. The Italian man has crashed. Let's take a replay of what happened to Pizzetti now. Coming into the Melbourne hairpin, just locks up the rear end, and it is faster than his front end and loops him round. Osbaldeston able to get by Mark Richards, but Richards isn't going to settle for best of the rest when he has a challenge for the lead of the race right in front of him. 4.5 seconds the gap to Cameron right now, and he's running free and clear into the 121s, though. The field behind, if they work together, will catch Craig Cameron. Plenty of racing time left to go. Taking a look at Pizzetti, who's going to want to shake and bake. Moves up the inside on Leslie Simpkins, who's down 6 positions now and maybe a little wounded as we go into the Melbourne hairpin. Leslie goes for another look to the inside line, demands the real estate on Pizzetti, and is able to go side by side here. Pizzetti and Leslie Simpkins are going to touch going in towards corner number 1. And that's just 2 not going into 1 situation, unfortunately. We're going to go look at the Krasenberg-Richards battle. And Richards goes to the inside line. At McLean's gets a little wiggle for Krasenberg, out to the dirt for Richards. And they're going to go all the way wheel to wheel into Compass, carrying a ton of speed. We saw in practice Richards practicing this over and over again, so he knows where to drive his car. Single file through the chicane. The Fogarty S is very tricky to carry the speed through there, but a good overtaking opportunity into the Fogarty S is a little bit of a wiggle on the loud pedal for Richards, the Sausage Dodgers racing driver. Nick Stubb in a little bit of a debacle with Christian Barker, but it is settled, and Barker succeeds the position to Nick Stubb, who had the big spill earlier on in the race. Nick Stubb looking at Michael Phipps in front. Ooh, and a big look and a leap of faith that the other driver wasn't going to send it in there, but Nick Stubb manages to carry a ton of speed through McLean's and works his way up into P10 for the number 69. Ollie Smith and Tim Williams now exchanging blows. He's headed down into the final corner. Tim Williams leads the duo. Ollie Smith and the number 17 behind up 2 positions. Tim Williams up 6 though. Mark Richards and Krasenberg still keep on driving each other around this track at greater and greater speeds. Their last lap, best lap, a 1:20.28 compared to a 1:20.47 from the leader last lap around. Closest battle on track right now, 0.4 of a second separating the duo. Go on board with Richards and the Sausage Dodgers looking at the backside of Krassenberg. No longer. We're going to go side by side to the inside line. That's going to turn to the outside for McLean's and the outside for Coppice as well. Like I said, Richards has done this in practice with a partner a couple of times, so he knows how to carry the speed and where to position his car safely. But man, oh man, it's kind of just going to slow them down a little bit. Mark Richards may want to work with Krassenberg to try to chase down Osbaldeston and Cameron. A 4.5 second gap has come down to just 2 seconds between Cameron and Osbaldeston. Mark Richards a little too far back to make it work on this occasion, but he's still going to push hard nonetheless and keep on trucking. They're in a trip into the grass. That's not trucking. That is a look. Mark Richards potentially getting a little impatient now. 119 from Nick Stubb that last time around. He's looking good for a top 10 tonight. But man, oh man. Mark Richards weaving a little bit, trying to shake off the dirt I think he's collected. Simone Darsh chasing down Michael Phipps and Christian Barker up ahead. Barker and Michael Phipps, no, excuse me, going wheel to wheel. I think that might have been the 117 of Krassenberg. No, is that Osbaldeston? Not sure who that was. Who is that driver? Christian Barker, the number 10, and Michael Phipps are going wheel to wheel. The Afghanistan driver battling with Michael Phipps from behind. Excuse me. Craig Cameron and Osbaldeston's battle is about to go wheel to wheel as Cameron gets passed by Osbaldeston on that recovery drive into the final corner. Michael Phipps trying to get around Christian Barker up ahead. Side by side into McLean's. It'll be a little over under for Barker potentially, but the Afghani driver can't find the real estate to make that work. And that would be Andrea Pizzetti behind. But who's behind Christian Barker? Is that Leslie Simpkins? I believe that is Leslie Simpkins. Yes, it is. The Sausage Dodgers driver came down pit road down 14 positions right now and is obviously a lap down. Mark Richards and Krassenberg with the lock up into the Melbourne hairpin. The Sausage Dodgers driver and Krassenberg are not settling their dispute. Big puffs of smoke coming through McLean's Phipps is through Barker. Pizzetti now a couple seconds back. Well, that's Leslie Simpkins. There's a fast driver trying to unlap himself and get some provisional points in this championship. Leslie Simpkins is through, back over to now the Tim Williams battle as he's chased down by Ollie Smith. Ollie Smith so close to the rear end, looks to the inside, but backs out into the Fogarty S's. Extremely tricky braking zone, but heavy braking zone into the Fogarty S's. The end of the Starkey Straits, it's prime braking zone and overtaking spot. Mark Richards and Krassenberg go wheel to wheel in towards turn 1 of Redgate, but Mark Richards sits in the back and out through Hollywood. Mark Richards still within spitting distance. Importantly enough, Pizzetti is right on the rear end of Phipps now. Pizzetti's down 2 positions on the grid. Richards again closes down the gap into McLean's. Tim Williams and Ollie Smith into the Melbourne hairpin. Tim Williams on the defensive line going into Goddard. Oh, but the switchback is fast and fierce. Tim Williams parked it on the apex, but Ollie Smith is going to get around or try to get around. Can't do so successfully. A pit stop call for Mark Richards. I was not expecting pit stops from the drivers, to be honest with you. But we are seeing pit stops. Anthony Ward now into the pits as well. Onto the halo of Ollie Smith, looking to the inside of Tim Williams. Out in front. These cars must feel so fun to drive. Here's Andreas Pizzetti's charge. Looks like it's a big dive and a lunge on Christian Barker, who leaves a ton of wheel space on the inside for Pizzetti to come through. But defensive line from Barker, and he's able to hold on just barely here, coming down the front straight into Redgate now. It will be a long look from Pizzetti, but it can't be close enough as he tries to go over the dirt a little bit and carry speed down into Hollywood and the crater curves, because the old hairpin makes a look that could be an opportunity, but it's dangerous. Now Starkey's Bridge and the Swans curve lean into McLean's. This is another prime overtaking opportunity where you can go side by side. Pizzetti opens the door himself coming down the back stretch. They will go wheel to wheel into the Fogarty S's. But it still belongs to Barker in the lead. Another look, another lunge, but a lockup for Pizzetti will slow him down, and he's going to get on the loud pedal and get a little bit of an overdrive, but Pizzetti still defends that inside line. The switchback is engaged from Barker, but Pizzetti is there. All this battling has brought out Luca Moreno's best, because now he's here in the battle, leading down and towards Redgate. It'll be Luca Moreno in the United Sim Team number 56, working his way into the top 10. We've had some historic events here at Donington Park. That's why it's so iconic, is because of its staple in history. The 1930s Grand Prix glory, of course. Donington was Britain's first permanent parkland racing circuit when it opened in 1931. In the 1937 and 1938 Donington Grand Prix, legendary silver arrows from Mercedes-Benz and United Auto raced here, with greats like Burton Rosemeyer and Richard Seaman dominating. Pit stop for Moreno. Switch over to Tim Williams and Ollie Smith's little battle here. And this will be the run going down in towards the final sector. Nick Stubb on a great recovery down into P6 though. A big lockup there for Ollie Smith, but it will be successful. Run down towards the final corner. Tim Williams in charge of the race, but it will be Ollie Smith succumbing to Nick Stubb's speed and pace. A quick pit stop call for Ollie Smith now. How long are the pit stops? Oh no, and he misses his box. Ollie Smith, no. Very quick pit stop. Let's go over to Nick Stubb and Tim Williams battle. Seeing around 25, 27 seconds. Here comes Stubb on Williams. Now into McLean's. Got to put the pressure on Tim Williams. And Tim can't keep up. Lot of pit stops for the field now. Let's take a look. Drivers that have taken stops versus not. Nick Stubb currently in the lead of the race for drivers that have taken their pit stops. Can he keep up this 119 pace for another 13 minutes at Donington Park? Tim Williams comes down pit road as well now. Pit stops again being fulfilled by everybody outside the top three. Simone Darsh still needs to take a pit stop. Anthony Ward, no, out of the race, saying the brake pedal spring snapped, and that will end the race. Here's Anthony Ward right now. Super unfortunate that he's got to be sitting in pit lane right now. That just not the way you want to see the end of the race. But we have seen drivers come back at the end of the season. So, a mechanical failure succumbing to Anthony Ward, unfortunately. The driver now in 16th place. Pit stop for Kyra Krasenberg will be successful, and they're already out onto the racetrack now. Now, Kyra Krasenberg in a 5th position, up 2 from where they started the race in the 117. Noah Osbaldeston into pit lane. A Nova Motors esports driver puts down a last lap, best lap on their way into pit road. Craig Cameron also in pit lane. Let's see where Nick Stubb is on the racetrack right now as they're about to come into the final corner. How close are they to Osbaldeston now? Osbaldeston is already rolling. Nick Stubb is promoted up into P2 as Craig Cameron is now out of pit lane and may have had a little bit of trouble with his transient time there. No, it looks like it was all clean running for Cameron, but it'll be big gains 2 on the evening. Started out in P5, now sitting in P3, and was leading the race for quite some time. Simone Darsh within a second of Barker up ahead. And Darsh still needs to take a pit stop, according to my timing screen, to make it to the end of the race. Potentially lockup galore. Darsh goes round into Goddard's. That might be the pit stop timing for Darsh now. Yes, it will be. Let's go to Tommy Harala and Michael Phipps on the racetrack. P12 and P13 on the cards for the duo. And the number 12 chases down the 211 of Michael Phipps up ahead. Nick Stubb comes down pit road again. No! I know Nick Stubb had an incident earlier on and came down pit road. I thought he was going to be able to make it to the end. Goes down to P5 now, back out onto the racetrack. That'll be his second stop of the evening. Noah Osbaldeston in the lead. Craig Cameron in P2. Mark Richards in third. Kyra Kassenberg in fourth. Nick Stubb in fifth. Tim Williams in sixth. Ollie Smith in seventh. Andrea Pizzetti in eighth. Luca Moreno in ninth. Christian Barker rounding out your top 10. Michael Phipps and Tommy Harala in P11 and P12. Simone Darsh, Leslie Simpkins, Andrew Kesserton round out the 15 remaining drivers here tonight. Battle between Harala and Phipps now. And the 12 really carrying a ton of speed now. And slipstream is very strong through McLean's. I thought the dirty air would compromise drivers' runs to stay close, but they managed to stay close and well apart each other on the racetrack. The 211 of Michael Phipps wants nothing to do with the battle with Harala, and that'll promote Tony up into 11th. Leslie Simpkins now chasing down Simone Darsh. Unfortunately, Leslie is down 12 positions tonight. Goes to the inside into the final corner. Darsh tries to do the crossover, but turned in a little too early there. Out to the grass for Darsh. And Leslie Simpkins will be promoted out into 13th place. We saw the incident live with Simpkins and Osbadelston. Lovely Hello Kitty livery from Leslie Simpkins brought out tonight. Awfully elegant, that's for sure. Anthony Ward, unfortunately, taking a DNF from this race due to a mechanical failure tonight. Back to the history here at Donington Park as we watch the battle between Leslie Simpkins and Simone Darsh. In World War II and post-World War II, Donington Park struggled a bit. The circuit was closed during World War II and was used as a military vehicle storage depot. It sat derelict until the 1970s when Tom Wheatcroft revived and redeveloped it into a modern racing circuit. Back to Formula One, though. Here's Mark Richards getting through traffic. And sometimes we always hear that saying, traffic giveth, traffic taketh away. But we've seen good running here from the drivers. Let's go over to the battle with Leslie Simpkins as he's running down Michael Phipps again. And again, Phipps holds the inside line. Again, not wanting to put up a fight. Risk his running tonight. Just 3 and a bit minutes remaining on the clock for this event, so the drivers will get just a lap or two left. As I was saying, back to Formula One history, we had the 1993 European Grand Prix. It was arguably Donington's most famous race. It was held April 11th of 1993. This was Ayrton Senna's legendary drive in the rain, just as Simone Darsh tries to go around, but there goes Leslie Simpkins back down the order. So these drivers will go single file. It just looks like an off there from Leslie. Here comes Simone Darsh, who's down 3 tonight. Michael Phipps up 1. Holding on to P13. Simone Darsh on the inside of Coppice forces Michael Phipps to be cautious and run wide. He'll go off track, and Leslie Simpkins will come through as well. Simone Darsh, Leslie Simpkins. Simpkins doing it all over again to the outside line, gets the crossover. Over under looks pretty neat and tidy here at Goddard's. And Darsh well and covers off the inside line, holds it stern and fast, forcing Leslie the long way around the outside. Through Hollywood, down into the old hairpin. Single file has to be the way it runs for these two drivers. Darsh in the lead of the duo. This will be the white flag lap for Noah Osbaldeston, but we'll stay looking at this battle between Darsh and Leslie Simpkins through Coppice. Again, single file. Leslie moves to the outside line. Simpkins wants to get it done. Maybe not into the Fogarty S's. He's gonna go around the outside. Darsh backs out on the brakes, spins out his car, and Leslie Simpkins recovers into P12. Darsh is going to lose another position now. No, that's not Kesserton. That'll be one of the race lap leaders. Let's go back over to Osbaldeston, the Nova Motorsports esports driver. Last lap, best lap, a 1:18.7 will be the best lap of the race. A little help from lap traffic, I presume, with that slipstream. Into the Fogarty S's for this final time. Noah Osbaldeston almost runs into the back of the car in front, but looks to the inside line on the 56. And we'll get it done very successfully. Luca Moreno putting up a fight with Noah Osbaldeston tonight, who has led the race, tumbled down the order, and has come back into P1. Taking the checkered flag from Barney the Flagman is Noah Osbaldeston in the Nova Motors Esports team. Congratulations to Noah Osbaldeston. Craig Cameron up 3 positions tonight, will come home in P2. Mark Richards in 3rd place with 1 position gained on the night. Battling with Kyra Kassenberg, driver from the Netherlands, and Nick Stubb crosses the line in P4 and P5 respectively. Tim Williams in 6th place, Andrea Pizzetti in 7th, Ollie Smith in 8th, Luca Moreno in 9th, Christian Barker in 10th place. Noah celebrating with his teammate on track, and they'll do their cool down lap together. We'll get those results posted for you in just a moment's time, but I want to give another big shout out and a huge thanks to our sponsor for this race tonight. You guys have been phenomenal at getting things put together and getting us the support we need. Thank you very much to tonight's sponsor, Elon Musk. Not really, but thank you very much to tonight's sponsor of this event. It really goes a long way. Noah Osbaldeston and the O-Coach team providing the coaching for prizes 1, 2, and 3. 3rd place getting 1 hour of coaching. 2nd prize getting 2 hours of one-on-one coaching. And 1st prize getting 3 hours of one-on-one coaching. Let's get the results posted on screen for you folks. But thank you very much to our sponsors for this race. Osbaldeston won over Craig Cameron by 26 seconds. Mark Richards in P3 rounds out your podium. Kyra Krassenberg in 4th, Stubb, then Williams, Pizzetti, Ollie Smith, Luca Moreno, Christian Barker, Tommy Harala, Leslie Simpkins, Simone Darsh, Michael Phipps, Andrew Kesserton, Anthony Ward, and Kevin Barry.
Salutations, people.
Hello, hello, Mr. Osbaldeston. Hello, hello.
You alright?
I am all right. How about yourself, sir?
That was great. It was great fun. That was a great fun race. I know. I really enjoyed that. That was. I did love the car and track combo. I think that was one of SDR's better races in my opinion. I mean, it was a little bit chaotic, but who doesn't love a bit of chaos now? Eh?
Yeah, for sure. A little bit chaotic, the rise and fall throughout your race. Talk to us a little bit about it and how it ended up going for you. I mean, you had incidents, you kind of had to work your way through the grid as we look at a couple of your donuts here.
Yeah, it was a. I'm not quite sure what happened. I think on lap 4, I believe, I had a bit of an incident with Leslie. And yeah, I'm not entirely sure what's happened. Again, I'm not going to cast judgment without seeing it.
Right.
But yeah, so that kind of had an incident. Then had a bit of damage on both the right side wheels. So I originally heard that I had wheel damage. Like, I'll be honest, I was ready to sort of put it into the pits and kind of call it there. But no, I decided to stay out, and turns out the car has actually went faster. So having front right and rear right wheel damage actually made over the course of the race the car really nice and stable through a lot of the high speed corners.
Great.
So yeah, made my way through, started picking them off one by one. It definitely helped with the incident that happened basically the next hairpin afterwards, between like I think it was like P3 and 4 or something. Yeah, so just picking them off one by one, keeping to the strategy, a little bit of fuel saving, I think definitely helped as well. So yeah, so I think from me, I had a brilliant performance. There wasn't much more I could have done. You know, the clean sweep, win, fastest lap, and pole position. Yeah, overall, I think it's been a really good week. And again, huge thanks to Nova Motors Esports and No Coach for providing the car for me. They've given me a great setup as well. You know, I tried a few, and I think we definitely nailed it on the head with the setup today.
That's awesome. Thank you very much, Noah Osbaldeston, and thank you very much to the Nova Motors Esports team. Noah, since you're here with me, do you want to talk a little bit about O-Coach and kind of what you do? You are, sponsoring the prizes for this event. Tell us a little bit about the organization.
Yeah, so O-Coach I started around about, I want to say, close to a year ago. Yeah, just one day thought I really want to help people, and what my decided what my business was going to be a regular sort of coaching platform. And then until I sort of exploring the market a little bit, realized that there was one common problem with this coaching is you were paying sometimes up to £100, $100 an hour, and the coaching quality was awful. It was so data based. It was never based on driver feedback. It was very almost robot like. You pay for a session and you got the same thing every week. Whereas what I wanted to do at O-Coach was to make it more about the driver and what the driver needed at the time, rather than running off of a checklist in a sense. So sort of O-Coach, we do a little bit of data analysis, but most of it we just based on driver feedback and sort of like the mental side as well of racing. So your pre-performance routine, your post-race routine, sort of the mental state as you go to your focus levels through the race. And yeah, sort of working on everything that a driver needs to work on, but a lot of drivers don't realize how much they do it. So, things like sort of self-analysis as you go through a lap. So rather than just sort of going in and say, "Oh, I did that badly," it's like, why did you do that badly? And you do that on the spot, and it's also training the subconscious mind to drive for you as well. So there's a few drills we do with that. But yeah, so that was what I wanted to do, and I wanted to keep it to a fair price, because there wasn't really a fair sort of coaching platform that catered to the drivers, who couldn't afford such ridiculous coaching prices. So at the minute, that my pricing is well under $30 for the hour, and you're getting the same quality as if you went to like Grid and Go, for example. And they're charging sort of north of $80 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to do, and the best way I wanted people to realize, there is help out there, is sponsor the series. And I put up some prizes. So the prize for first place is 3 hours of coaching for free, second is 2 hours, and third is 1 hour. As well, the drivers champion, which is anybody who hasn't podiumed all year and sort of like a sort of a gentleman's award, and that also gets a free hour of coaching. So, I'm really proud to put up this prize for these guys. SDR is a great organization, and yeah, I'm honored to be able to put up the prize for these guys.
Thank you so much for joining me, Noah Osbedelston. Thank you very much for your support at Sausage Dodgers Racing. It really goes a long way. And thank you so much for your continued support in this league and supporting the drivers around you to get to an elevated level at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's the plan. We're going on.
Yeah. Is there anything else you wanted to say or anybody else you wanted to shout before I let you go, buddy?
No, just again, a huge thanks to O-Coach and No Boats Esports. They've been a fantastic bunch, and I want to say a huge shout out to the rest of the team. Kira, who I believe picked up a podium. No, not
Fourth
quite
place.
P4, but again,
Yeah.
great drive from her. She did amazing. Loads of
I'm
preparation
sorry.
as well.
I didn't know that was a woman. I'm calling them a he all night long. Thank you.
It's all right. And then Christian Barker as well, who sort of struggled in the mid-pack, but he didn't give up. He kept on fighting, and a well-respected top 10 for him as well, because it is all about the points at the end of the season, and end of the day, I'm helping Christian regularly with his training and sort of his development as a driver. So he's only going to get faster, and as well, I'll be honest, I want to give a huge mention to Nick Stubb as well, who I don't know how much you were covering in the race, but I noticed he was putting down some really, really quick and consistent lap times. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, I think he got hit with a race one self spin, and that kind of ruined his race. But I'll be honest to him, he did a fantastic job, and he's a really, really quick driver. So definitely one to watch this season.
For sure. Thank you very much, Noah. I'll let you go. Have a wonderful night. And as always, stay safe, brother. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. Thank you very much for staying tuned. That's going to cover it for tonight. Noah Osbedelston took the win tonight. Thank you very much again to our sponsor of tonight's race, Elon Musk. Not really, of course. Really appreciate the love and support. And I forgot to mention all night long, the Patreon subscribers, Tier 1, Leslie Simpkins, Andrew Kenny, Mark Richards, Jack McCarthy. In Tier 2, we have Mickey Phipps, Andrew Kesterton, and Simone Darsh. In Tier 3, we do have Jack Jacketson. So thank you very much to all the Patreon subscribers as well. You guys literally keep the lights on here at Sausage Dodgers Racing. Appreciate all the love and support you guys have given me over the past couple months. But for now, it's time to say adieu. We'll see you guys in a couple days for the Endurance League. So stay tuned, folks. Have a great night. And as always, make sure you stay safe out there. Bye-bye.